Hello YouTube, this is Soundwave913 coming back at it again with another Earthrise review. Wow, what a shocker. And today we're going to be taking a look at Earthrise Deluxe Hoist. And if you're wondering if I'm going to review the whole wave, no I'm not. I don't have wheeljack and I don't have any plans to unless they make an exhaust or I decide to make my own custom exhaust or slicer. But anyway, back on to Hoist. Before we take a look at the figure, let's talk a little bit about the character of Hoist. Mainly, well, where's he come from? Well, Hoist was a 1985 repaint of G1 Trailbreaker, except it came with different accessories and a brand new head sculpt, new colors, etc. And honestly, I would say in the last few years, Hoist has slowly been rising up my favorite Autobot tier list, as it were. Because I never realized how relatable of a character he could be. And I have to thank IDW for that. But before we get back to this guy, let's take a look at the packaging. So, again, we have the fantastic Siege artwork, well, carryover from Siege, which was the artwork in this case for Earthrise. And we got Hoist pouring something into his arm cannon. Okay. And typical Earthrise shenanigans. Now, normally, I would have that inside the packaging. However, I didn't cover this in the last reviews because I didn't know this. Apparently, the Earthrise figures come with this, which is a tech specs decoder. Well, if you remember G1, you remember if you want to look at the stats, you would have to use this red decoder. And in the case of the Siege figures, it's a map of the galaxy. And in this case, if I put it over, it says Junkion, so Planet Junkion. So that's a neat little feature. And since while I'm showing stuff off, here's the instructions. Real interesting. Alright, figure review time. Hoist turns into a tow truck of some type. And he looks quite good. Now, originally I wasn't going to get this figure, mainly because of those promo shots, where the legs and the arms, the green on them, were vastly different from the green on the hood. But looking at this figure in hand, all the green is consistently well done, and the figure looks quite beautiful. And the orange looks nice, etc., etc. Although, one thing I don't get on this figure is the battle damage. A carryover from Siege, I don't think anyone wanted. I mean, I was a fan of the Siege battle damage, but not all of it worked. But for whatever reason, Hoist still has it, particularly in this area, and in one other area we'll see in robot mode, and he's the only deluxe class or figure from Earthrise in general to do that. I mean, the closest we got was Ironworks with his kind of faded yellow, but that was really about it. But going off of that, he rolls okay, because these wheels are the typical, they put the wheel on with the peg there, but with these, the whole wheel is assembled with the peg, and as a result, they don't, well, roll too well. So, there's that. Kibble is okay. My main problem are these arms. They're very obvious in the, well, the vehicle mode. So, there's that. I wish they could have engineered it in such a way where the arms could be, you know, right here, like sideways instead of up long ways. And of course, the main gimmick on the back is the towing feature, which tows Micromasters, as example with Blackjack. Now, why would an Autobot be towing a Decepticon? I have no idea. Just the first figure I thought of. And yeah, the gimmick doesn't work all too well. And I do want to mention that the tow line item, I'm not sure what you would call this, has a wheel, which doesn't roll too well. I want to point out, but they, well, Micromasters do fit, except not well, because the only thing putting them on there is these little triangles, and other than that, that's really all the gimmicks for this mode. So, let's move on to the transformation, as I put a few things aside. So, how are we going to do this? Well, first off, you want to move these wings out of the way, pull this white piece up, and then move this piece up and out of the way. Like this, tap it down, fold these back. Then, You want to untab the entirety of the orange section from the back end. Let me see if, yeah, there we go. Then fold it out of the way, and you'll notice that these holes and these tabs will line in. But one thing I don't get about this figure, you see these slots right here? They don't do anything. These tabs right here, they don't plug into them. They plug into these holes. Okay, sure. So then what you want to do is move what will be the legs down and fold them out. And then untab the front of the truck, fold it up, and then move the arms down, like so. And then fold the sides of the vehicle off to the side, like that. Fold the waist down, make sure it doesn't really tab in, but well, actually it does, never mind. You just gotta move it on a very, very limited hinge. And now it doesn't want to go back in place. There we go. Then you want to move the entirety of this section down and make sure it looks proper. Then position the arms down to the sides. And lastly, you see this, that's the head. You want to fold it back and make sure it's locked in place. Turn it around, and then make sure that the back plugs in properly. It will tab in. And then finally, you want to move the wings up, make sure this is properly positioned, and there you have Hoist in robot mode. And he's a tall one. That is the first thing that is very apparent. He is the tallest of the deluxes. He's around the same size as Siege, Ironhide, and Impactor, who were the tallest from the Siege line. So, there you go. There's some fun little trivia. So, in robot mode, see, Hoist, yeah, this guy's name is Siege. Hoist looks actually pretty good. He really he looks the part. And also, it doesn't help that there aren't many green Autobots. Like, the only few I can think of are Springer, Hound, Greenlight, and Cosmos. There's not many green Autobots, so having another one in the ranks isn't a bad thing. And I love the color scheme again. Green, orange, white. Just works. I do like his head sculpt, although on the original toy, his head was all green, but in the show, it was black, so there you go. Got some nice details thrown in. And yeah, he generally has the Hoist aesthetic. And also, this is where the other Siege wear and tear, well, I guess I should call it Earthrise wear and tear, but honestly, it's always going to be Siege to me. On his arms. In person, these are barely noticeable, but on camera, it's picking them up, and it's completely pointless on the front of the arms. And it's only on the front. It's not even on the bottom. It's on the top of the arm, so it makes absolutely no sense. And again, why Hoist is the only one that has this is unknown. So, there's that. Now, he does come with one accessory, which is his gun, or most people will call it a arm blaster, or a hand blaster. And you just plug it in, and you have the iconic Hoist look, because in the cartoon, he had that. Although, I don't remember it being orange. If I remember correctly in the show, it was silver or white. I don't remember. But, let's talk articulation. So, one thing I do want to point out, this whole area doesn't tab in, so it just folds down, which is a problem. But Hoist actually has the best head articulation out of the Siege line I've seen so far. Very versatile. And then full 360, although this area tends to come untabbed a little bit, which, let me see if there we go. Make sure that's all nice and flush. The arm kibble here does get in the way of the wings if you fold them out, so you gotta fold them out of the way. Not an in and out here, but an in and out on the pins, elbow bend, swivel at the upper forearm, I guess? I don't remember. I don't know all the lingo, the all the terms, as it were. Elbow bend, a wrist swivel, very limited waist, unfortunately, but it's whatever to me. Good forward leg and back leg movement. Good in and out. A swivel at the thigh. A double knee, as seen here. And a pretty decent ankle rocker. So you can get hoist here into some quite nice poses. Although you have to deal with this arm kibble, which I get it was on the original toy in the show model, but it's not always a great idea. And there is how he looks on the back, and he's got a few holes where you can plug some accessories in. And I forgot to mention that this is like the Battle Masters and the Titan Master clip ports and all these ports on Ironworks where they can connect to each other, and also the Titan class figures. So let's get Hoist back there. Let's do some size comparisons. You've been seeing him a lot. So there is Ironworks. And yeah, Hoist is a tall man. As I hit my camera. And here he is next to Scrap Metal from Studio Series. And, very appropriately, here he is with Reveal the Shield Grapple, or Repel. And honestly, I think these two work fine to each other. Honestly, I think they look nice. And then, big question. Here he is next to Thrilling 30 Hoist, which has that green head and a lighter green in general. Because, you know, these two are going for different aesthetics. IDW, G1, but this guy has a lot of more toy influence to him, you know, with the green head and more silver instead of white, etc., etc. So, overall, I would say Earthrise Hoist is worth the buy. He is very good looking. He has pretty decent articulation, looks good in both modes, and while limited accessories, it serves the character well, and, well, he's just cool. He has a decent transformation, and overall, he's not a bad figure from the Earthrise line. So, there you go. I would recommend you getting him if you don't have Hoist, but if you have Thrilling 30, I would say do it, make the upgrade, although I still love this figure, although mine has a loose arm. So, that's it for Earthrise Hoist. I do recommend him. Go and find him if you can. This is Soundwave913, signing out. Have a good one.